Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I feel like I have a lot of explaining to do, and have, I actually have, obviously an explanation, but y'all, the last few months have been crazy. The last few months have been so crazy, but we survived. We survived. I know that I sort of went off, and I think it's been like so many months since been a couple months since I last posted a video on here, but I had to deal with a lot of things that I think I'm now sort of ready to open up about because I never really talked about it before. I guess because I was sort of ashamed, which is which is crazy because I was doing all this self work and somehow I was still being heavily ruled by shame at that point of my life. And I'm just trying to give myself grace now and realize that at the end of the day we're still learning, we're still growing. But yeah, a lot happened and I think I'm finally kind of ready to talk about it. Honestly, as a whole, this year was probably one of my hardest years. The last few videos that I posted on here when I started this channel, I think it was a very big shift in my life. It was like the point that I finally was like, it's like I've reached this point where I want to start living with more intentionality. And so I started a whole lot of stuff. I became more intentional about what I wanted and what direction I wanted to go into, especially creatively, because at the end of the day, I am an artist. But I do think that one of my biggest driving forces at the time was the fact that I was in so much pain. And now I'm realizing this because I had to take some time off because I was dealing with a lot of personal things, which I'm still going to into in this video. But when I came back, I guess I was just more so past all that pain that I had previously. And so currently, my driving force now isn't really pain. I'm not in as much pain as I was before. And I feel like I'm trying to find how do I explain this? I'm trying to find my rhythm because now there's nothing else but there's nothing else driving me but my need to not disappoint myself and accomplish the dreams that I've always set out for myself. And so I guess it's just a different rhythm from what it was before because the thing about when you're operating from a place of pain is you might still be getting the things that you need to get done, but it's like the rhythm is just kind of different. It's not steady. You're hardly giving yourself grace. It's just forceful and it's fast and it's coming at you so fast. And so when you heal from that pain, you find yourself sort of easing up a little bit. And the thing about it, I guess in my case, was that because that was the first time that I was moving with that kind of intentionality, the concept of easing up was frightening to me because I was like, oh, does this mean that like now that I'm over it, I don't love myself enough to still be going hard like that? But that doesn't mean that doesn't. I'm trying to give myself enough grace to realize that my rhythm might change a little bit. My driving force is different. My driving force is less about oh I'm in this much pain and now more about oh this is what I want for myself. This is what I'm going to accomplish. I'm going to still treat myself like a fucking human being and take it one step at a time. And at the end of the day, I just still want to make sure that I'm prioritizing my goals and my dreams. And it's just been a little hard because at the same time, in certain ways, my goals, my dreams, or would I say my aspirations, whatever, has sort of molded a little bit again. And I felt so bad about this because like I was like, oh, I figured it out. I drew up a whole plan of the things that I want to achieve like in the next 5 years, year by year, month by month, like everything was set. And then it's like in a couple of months, I have these experiences that have sort of made me realize that I also want some other things too. And that kind of just threw me off course because like if I'm not adding this to it and I'm taking this out, it's like then the plan is messed up, The plan is not the same way it was anymore. And that just really scared me. But then I just had to come to a point where I was like, first of all, I just had to talk to people. I had to talk to people, I had to watch videos, like I had to calm down, pray to God, and just ease up a little bit, because it's like I had this plan for a couple months and I was like going hard on it, and all of a sudden I was thrown off, and I'm 22. So it's like I'm not in school anymore, where there's this like illusion of you have so much time. Well, I wouldn't say it's an illusion, because I do have so much time, but you don't have the surroundings to make you feel that way. Do you understand what I mean? And so I just felt so tense, like what the fuck do I mean? I don't have a plan anymore. Like I'm following. I don't have a script. And it's so ironic because um my biggest thing was when I was in school, because I went to study law. I didn't actually want to study law, but it was like my parents had this whole thing set up for me. They wanted me to study law, and they are lawyers, and you know where this is going. There was a plan, right? And I was always so angry. I was like, I don't want to go through this route. I want to figure things on my own. I want to chase my own um I want to chase my own dreams and my own passions and all of this. And here I was chasing my passion, still making a very, very strict script along the way. And so I felt really, really lost. And because of, I think, social media, there's this constant illusion of you're running out of time. But I'm 22. So, but like, there are literally people who are in their 40s that are still feeling lost. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to tell you now, I do not think there's anything wrong with it. Some people figure out who they are at 50, at fucking 60. I kid you not. And so I came to that point where I was just like, it's literally normal to be lost in your 20s. And it's good that I'm realizing now that, my plan is not as rigid as I thought it was. And I'm like, okay, let me figure it out. Let me like start afresh. And I was a little confused unsure about whether I wanted to talk about this on this YouTube today. But I remember when I started this YouTube, my thing was I wanted to be as authentic as possible. I wanted to be as honest about my journey as possible. I wanted to lay everything out there. And I guess that's what I'm doing right now. And a lot of things happened to me this year. Everybody, we already know about the breakup that I had earlier in the year, and I think that did alter a lot of things for me, and I think that put me in a lot of pain for a while, like a couple months, because I never really experienced anything like that, and I was hurting. And then aside from that, I did sometime last year, I found out that I I was unable to write some courses because I was not serious in school, you guys. Like now that I'm thinking back at it, I'm like I was not serious for shit, and I know that I was not serious. I can't even be mad, but I wasn't serious in school, and I had a lot of courses to write. I couldn't write them at once because the credit load had exceeded the whole story. But yeah, so I also had an extra year, and this is the first time that I'm actually talking about this. Um, yeah, and I never talked about it because I just felt so ashamed of myself. I felt so bad about it, and coming back to do that extra year, because I had to go back to do it. I needed to finish. I've started it. I have to finish the law thing, and I was just like, I just want to get it done. I also said that I'm not going to law school because I want to be an artist and I want to just pursue my dreams already. And I felt like I've spent the last 5-6 years of my life literally chasing another person's passion, because I never cared about law. I wasn't ever passionate about it, but I just felt pressured to do it by my parents, and I was too much of a coward to stand my ground. So I ended up in that route, and I just feel like it took a lot from me creatively, because I think about where I might have been if I had just been pursuing music for these last 5 years, who I would have been right now if I had a support system that supported me artistically. And at the end of the day, I think this is not talked about enough, but there are a lot of artists that don't have that. There are a lot of artists that are not exactly surrounded by people that are pushing you to be your best self creatively, or best self, or like are pushing your artistic dreams. And some of those people end up subduing their passions and creativity as a result of just not being in a favorable environment. And I think that was where I was headed, because it's just it's just not easy. Sometimes I even got to a point where I felt ashamed to even tell people that, oh, I'm a creative, I'm an artist, I like music. Even till now, I still struggle with it. Like telling someone that, oh, I'm a singer, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, because of the stereotypes and all that comes with it. But yeah, and my environment definitely didn't help. So I just got pressured into it. Like, didn't have the balls to be like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to be a creative in a Nigerian home. especially in a home like mine. So yeah, so I was just like, now I finally had the balls. So I was like, and I was also, like I said, I was super driven, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to law school. I want to do this. I want to do that. Now my perspective has changed a little bit. But the thing is, I think my perspective, there's two different things that have come into life for me. One, I just think I'm at this point where, okay, three different things I would say. I think I'm at this point where I'm like, I've given 6 years of my life for this law thing. I don't want to just leave it halfway. You know, like I don't want to just give 6 years of my life getting a law degree and I don't go to law school for 1 year. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I'm still going to be an artist. If I trust myself enough, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to chase my dreams. Nobody can stop me from doing that. I'm going to do the grind. I'm going to grind. I'm even grinding as we speak. I'm going to keep grinding, but I want to see this through. And it's not, I think this entire time, the reason that I never really found myself being moved or driven or like motivated to actually study or work harder in school was because it was always about every other person. But for the first time, it's about me. And some of the reasons also about me too. I said there were like three different reasons, but there are some of the other reasons also. I went to this NBA conference recently, and I think my mom set it up because I think she's been looking for ways to get me to want to go to law school, and I actually agreed to go to the NBA conference. And I guess being there, attending certain seminars, certain like very crucial, important seminars, and meeting other like notable people and lawyers in the system and all that, it did kind of alter some things in my perspective. I won't lie. And there was a seminar in particular that moved me, and I just came to a point where I was like, I would like to be able to have the capacity to make a level of change in certain aspects in the Nigerian system, no matter how small. And whether I'm going to act on that or not, I don't know. But I had the feeling of I want to know that I am able to if the opportunity ever presents itself. And it's not just for the system but also for people close to me. Like I want to have that, and I felt something being moved in me, and I never really feel that way when it comes to this course that I've been studying. I know it's going to sound crazy because most people that want to study law are like, oh, I want to make a difference in the system, but I never cared. I'm sorry, I never cared. I just never cared about the Nigerian system. But it got so real being there and like attending some of these similar seminars and watching other people be so passionate and realizing this is not class anymore. This is not just passing an exam anymore. Like this is real. The exams and the studying we're doing, it's for this, and this is this real stuff. And this is what I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of these conversations. I want to be able to help in this way. And so I was like, okay, yeah, maybe at that point I wasn't convinced yet. Maybe I might go to law school. And I had a conversation with a lawyer, with a lady. Oh my god, I'm literally so in awe of her. I don't want to call her name here because I don't want to put her on blast, but had that conversation because I mean the only lawyers that I've really really spoken to, aside from the aspiring lawyers that I was going to school with, love you guys, but the major lawyers I've only really ever really spoken to, because I've never really had any interest in all this stuff. So I wasn't attending any of the seminars. I wasn't going to moot court. I wasn't doing any of the extracurriculars in this field. But it's been my mom, and my mom's perspective has always just do it because you can do it. Just you can do it as long as you read enough. You can do it, and always been like, oh, lawyers are respected. It comes to a certain level, and I don't really care about this stuff. But I don't know. I just felt like the concept of being a lawyer had always been presented to me as a good job. Like if you're going to study this and you're going to have a good stable job. But I'm someone that I'm more so career driven, and for once, like with this woman, I had a conversation with her that made me see it as more of a career and made me see the ambition in it and realize that it's not as one-sided as I had been looking at it the entire time. And there are just so many. Obviously, I knew there were always so many aspects of law, but I think in the career aspect, there are just so many ways that I could move in it, right? And that really changed my perspective to an extent. Shout out to her. So now I'm still terrified. I'm scared out of my mind because I have severe ADHD. I struggle with reading. Anybody that knows me knows this. I've struggled throughout university. I'm actually traumatized. Like I truly have PTSD from having to study that much, but I just want to do it. and I want to challenge myself to do it. I want to prove to myself that I can do it, and maybe see if it's possible that it could be something useful to me in the future. I don't know. And also, adding to the third reason, because I said there are three reasons. The third reason also being that I just also think it would be like it might be good for my career as an artist. You know, a lot of artists get taken advantage of because of maybe they are not well represented, or they don't have the money to even represent themselves legally, or like get a good lawyer or whatever. And I just feel like it's armor. It's good armor, you know. It's like legal armor. Like I'm an artist. I sing. I write songs. I do this and that, and I'm a lawyer. You know, you know. And I'm gonna be sorting out my own contracts. I'm gonna be president. You know what? You know the whole 9 yards. I just thought it's also good for me as an artist, and I would like to have that as an extra armor in the industry because I know what the industry is like. Okay, so yeah, that was the one thing. So anyway, back to the extra year. It was very depressing. I felt like I couldn't talk about it, so I couldn't really explain to anybody why I wasn't in my hometown, why I was still in Oka, and it was a different experience this time because, you know, I didn't have my friends with me like I did last year. Everybody had. It just felt like I actually felt depressed at some point. It was a whole thing. And it was so hard because it just felt like everybody had moved on and everybody was moving on with their lives and figuring things out and getting jobs and achieving these things. And I was still stuck in this place just trying to get through this whole shit. Like, just trying to get through this degree. And I was alone. I went through so many moments of isolation. I actually wrote a beautiful song from it. The name is Solitude. Um, yeah, I think that was the best thing that came out of that season of my life. But it's crazy that I'm talking about it and I'm smiling now. It was depressing. It was so depressing. I was broke. And I felt so deeply alone. I did have one friend that helped me get through it. And I'm so grateful for him because I would have lost my mind if we never met this year. I would have lost my mind. But for the most part, I did feel very, very alone. And a lot of things happened somewhere along the line. Like, it got really, really dark. It got really, really dark at some point, especially when I was almost done. That's the funny thing about life. It's like when you're almost at the finish line, shit just really gets hard. Um, there was this point where I was really battling with my health. I didn't understand what was going on. It was one thing to the other. It was one another thing to the next. Eventually, I found out that I had ulcer. Now, I don't know anybody that has followed me, maybe like on Snap or even on this YouTube Solve. Um, One of the things that I picked up this year and I really locked into was running. So I was running every single morning this year, and it kind of became my thing. Like, it gave me life in a way that I had never really experienced before. It was something that I was doing for myself, and it just it was just beautiful. So I really fell in love with running this year, and I was doing that and I was doing that, and somewhere along the line, the ulcer started developing. And for those that don't know, running makes ulcers really, really bad. So when I started falling sick, I didn't realize that it was tied to the ulcer. So I kept on trying to run and push through it. And eventually, when I had found out about the ulcer, it had already gotten really severe. So I was told I had to stop running. And I feel like that was like one of my last straws because like the running just kept me feeling like a sense of purpose, a sense of, oh, I'm still showing up for myself every single morning. And now you're telling me that my body has failed me and I can't even do this one thing that I've been doing for me for the last few months, that I've been doing every single day. And I had to stop running. I had to also get on a very strict diet. And honestly, now I have a newfound respect for people that get on diets for like various reasons, whether it be weight loss or health reasons. And I are judged because maybe they're not sticking to it religiously, because that shit is hard. My diet, being on a diet, it really, really kicked my ass, you guys. Like, I can cry. Like, I can cry just remembering everything that I went through. I will lie. I realized how hard it was because I couldn't eat some of my favorite things, and it's like, oh, I can't run, I can't eat some of my favorite things. I'm literally alone all the time. I'm depressed. It was so hard. It was truly, truly, truly so hard. And then my faith really started shaking, and I just felt for like the last few months again, my faith was a constant. Like, it got so strong. I wouldn't say I got so good. I don't think that's the word I would use, but I felt the closest I'd ever felt to God. And I found, I don't know, I don't want to even explain it. It was just beautiful, right? But in this moment, which I'm realizing was probably just a season of trial, I struggled so much because so many things were happening that I couldn't understand. And I remember just feeling like God had abandoned me and He had left me, and He wasn't there. And so I told myself, when everything had started, I told myself that no matter what happens, I'm not going to stop praying, I'm not going to stop reading my Bible, I'm not going to stop doing my devotions. But somehow I still ended up stopping at that time. I just couldn't. I started doing things I had stopped doing for a while, drifting away from God, and yeah, it was just so bad. It was so bad, you guys. Like, the last few months were so bad. And in all this, I just couldn't talk to anybody about it because of the shame that I felt. I felt so ashamed to be doing an extra year, to be locked away in isolation and stuck in school when all my classmates have signed out and graduated and are thinking about law school. So yeah, it really kicked my ass. Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot. I had to stop my runs, found I had ulcer, I was depressed, I was alone, and I fell off with my feet. But yeah, um, that's basically the tea. But I'm back now, and I think when I was coming back, when I finally was done with my exams, my thing was once I'm done, when I was still like writing my exams, my thing was once I'm done, I'm going to log back into my routines immediately. But the thing is, I had fallen off for so long that once I was then done and I got back home, I realized that now I'm struggling to log back. I'm struggling to log back into those routines properly, and I kept on trying to just instantly log back in and be doing all the things that I was doing before and be so strong in my faith the way I was before I fell off. But I realized that I am not giving myself grace and I'm forcing it. And now I'm just at a point where I'm just allowing myself to ease into things, you know. I haven't even posted music videos, but that's also partly because I've had a hard time because since I got home, it's just been crazy, you guys. Like, I don't even want to get into that now. But it's just been crazy. But I guess now I'm just like I'm giving myself grace, and I'm locking in. I'm locking in, but I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Like, I have to get back into the strict daily regimes that I was on before. But I would probably eventually get back on them. But I'm taking it one step at a time, and this YouTube is the first step. I think I've said everything I want to say. I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But if there's anybody that's somehow still watching me, thank you. And I think I'm gonna become more open about posting on here. I know I've said that many times, but at first this was like solely about music, but I also just want this to be about my life and like how I'm growing and how much progress I'm making. And I want to meet other people too who are on similar journeys, and I want to just document things, you know. So I'm going to be more open about my creativity and about my journey in law school and and just generally life. I'm 22 right now, and so far I feel very lost. I feel really lost, and that's so scary. But I want to be able to look back at these videos and be like, oh, this was all worth it. So thank you for watching so far. I have to go. I actually have a song to record, and hopefully you guys are going to see that on my TikTok very soon. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.